let's go with some initial reactions for Raider Nation. I'm just going to sit here and smile. Traeger,
I'll give it to you. Look, we asked Marquette King on Friday's show, you're going up on this national stage. It's going to be Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth on the call. Are you ready? And he said it's just another game. We just heard Latavius Murray say it's just another game. It's a very young team, right? From Derek Carr to Khalil Mack to Amari Cooper. They're saying all the right things, and I'm believing that they actually think it, which is crazy because all August we heard about the Jaguars and the Raiders, right? That was the only teams everyone wanted to talk about, bandwagon. This is the year's year. The Jaguars might have been reading those headlines, might have been believing that hype, and might have gone a different direction. The Raiders, everyone had them being a team to watch, and they're delivering and exceeding expectations, which tells me they're being coached well, tells me that they have the right mantra in the locker room. And I'll just say this. He mentioned it quickly, but we talk about Murray and Carr and Cooper and Crabtree. The names we got to be talking are Donald Penn, Kelechi Osemele, Rodney Hudson. This is the offensive line because those guys are protecting, and they might be the best offensive line in all of football.
Kelechi Osemele, man.
I think it's time.
I think it's time, too. Listen, Kate, I'm excited this morning, too, because I think that the NFL, who we work with, is a better league when the Raiders are good.
For sure.
100%. This is my request, all right? I know that they're rich in history, and they have this great, fabled past. I don't want to hear about that right now. I don't want to hear Autumn Wind. I really don't want to hear about Al Davis. I love Al Davis, the late Al Davis, but this is the future. This is the new Mr. Davis, okay? There's certain teams, when the Bears get good, it's always the 85 Bears. When the Bills make a splash, it's always the Jim Kelly era. I don't want to hear about that. Look, if Hillary wins tomorrow, I don't want to hear about FDR and the New Deal and the Whig Party versus the Dems. I want to hear about the present because the present for the Raiders is incredible. Think about these glamour positions, Kay. The pass rusher, the wide receiver, the quarterback, the running back.
It
is so excited. The puncher.
I love that they're all saying the right things, and Marquette King did, but he tweeted that if they get the win in that big game, that he's going to the club with this pad, which was incredible.
And he's jumping the line,
dancing.
too. No, you're right. Latavius Murray said it perfectly after the game. He said, we are going forward. This is a new team and a new mindset, and I am excited about it. I love Autumn Wind, but it's about the future, Nate.
Going into the season, you asked what were the Raiders' strengths, and then you would think Cooper, you would think Crabtree, you think Derek Carr, and then all of a sudden they start running the ball. You said it. This is a defining game, and it was a message not just to the Broncos, to the whole NFL. They're saying, you know what, we're not going to just pass the ball. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run it down their throat, and we're going to be very effective. For me, this is a bigger message to everybody else watching the Oakland Raiders because all of a sudden, this 7-2, they're leading the division. They are going to make the playoffs. This is a legit contender right now, and they're doing everything. Offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. He said they were giving up a lot of rushing, so we want to expose them. He wasn't taking a shot. He wasn't saying, oh, we're tougher, we're bigger, we're better, we're going to rush the ball. He was saying, you know what? They were better rushing, so we want to rush the ball. Certain teams would have said, oh, we passed the ball well. Let's just throw it up to Crabtree. Let's throw it up to Cooper. They say, you know what? We are going to work on what works against a Denver Broncos team. And that reminds me of somebody else, and that's the Patriots. You change up what you can do well depending on the weaknesses of the other team. If the Oakland Raiders can do this on a weekly basis, watch out.
And they also worked on what wasn't working for them, which was their defense, right? I sat here and said Derek Carr should be the MVP because this team is 6-2 and they're 31st ranked defense in the league. But what did they show? At home, people were saying, oh, they can't win at home. They pulled off a huge win in primetime at home, and their defense stepped up. Derek Carr didn't have to go and save the game, throwing the ball and forcing it to Crabtree the entire time. Let's talk about Khalil Mack for a minute, who's completely dominant. He leads the NFL with 22 sacks since the beginning of last year. That is more than Von Miller. People were coming at me, Broncos fans, yesterday. These are just facts. I'm just giving you guys the facts here. He's got 6 sacks in his last 4 games. Yesterday, 2 sacks, a tackle for loss, forced fumble recovered. Khalil Mack, we see you. You stepped up. This defense looking good in a big spot.
One more note on the Raiders. We always talk about the Houston Texans, and Kyle, you're always so good with this because you say they're at the kids' table. They win the games they should, but then in the big spots, they lose. This was the first chance.
Big spot.
This is the first chance for the Raiders, this new Raiders team, to really be on national TV, play against the defending Super Bowl champions, and they kicked butt.
They did.
They kicked butt. They belong at the adults' table this Thanksgiving.